Right. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Ernest, if only you were excited about school back in the day. Uh, I don't know that they had. I think Nora told us he's on the older side. Like, I don't know. I'm not sure if it's like covered wagon type old or if I'm not sure. But I feel like he's on the Nora's on the older side as well, Ernest. Maybe not James old, but I feel like he's like, on the older side. All right, so Thursday morning, let's get started. Um, obviously, some decent movement out there in the pound pairs. Euro pound, pound dollar, pound yen. Everything else pretty much flat. Dollar cat a little bit of life, but really not much out there. Um, you know, overall today, I mean, the monetary policy statement from the pound wasn't anything earth shattering, and there's been no other really major headlines. The only headline I was reading about was there was that condo in Florida that like half collapsed. I mean, those things are like, like you would think it was a bomb, but it's not a bomb. It's like, well, I mean, it's been there for 30 years. Those are like hurricane-proof buildings. How the heck does half of a building fall down? Like, I don't know how that works, but and only one casualty so far. Like, you would assume a 12-story condo building on the beach. You would assume that more than one person would have perished. Like I know, like humans can't jump 12 stories, but if you're in a crumbling building, I don't know. I feel like your chances of perishing are high. Uh, yeah, I don't know how that works, but yeah. So that was a news out of Florida. Leave it to Florida. Never a dull moment there. So with that said, um, the core durable goods and preliminary wholesale inventories, I think, is also an interesting case for today. Um, on any other given day, this technically should be really bad news. You're like, oh man, inventories are going higher, orders are down. This sucks. But I mean, no, they've said that we're going to have retreating inflation. And again, this is kind of some of those things that kind of back that up a little bit. I don't know how much they're going to inflate it because I feel like, again, based off the time of this, it's month over month, right? So if you look what was happening during that time, you know, I just feel like these are typically going to go down. But I mean, there was revisions up last time too. So I mean, they're both kind of split numbers. The unemployment claims number is interesting, but like I said, I think that's the labor force basically like being like, "Yeah, you said I need to be paid more," type stuff. Um, I think that's the biggest issue there. Besides that, we really don't have much today. Bostic is speaking later, not a really big deal. We have the natural gas at 10:30. We'll see if anything pops out with that one. Expected to be 64. I guess it's is it billion cubic feet? Yeah, cubic feet. Um, See if it's a mover today. Oil's already moved a bunch, continuing that drop from yesterday, so we'll see if that continues to go. And then this is going to be interesting too. The Tokyo Core CPI year over year, and again, they always have low inflation. I mean, they're all about being as weak as they possibly can. So, um, yeah. And then tomorrow morning, like I said, there's some small stuff in here. The big one, again, here I'll just get rid of the rest of the stuff here. The big one's going to be this core PCE price index and then the revised University of Michigan consumer sentiment. Um, I think this will be an interesting number. Like I said, they keep missing it to the top side. I feel like they're due to get a flat or a red. If they get a red, then Pal's going to literally be like, "Hey, told you so." Like I think he's going to be insufferable. I don't know if that's the right word for it, but insufferable. Like I said, I doubt people are going to drop the prices once you're used to things at this high level. It's like why lower them, right? If they're at a high level. Yeah, I don't know how that's going to work, but we'll see. But so I think that'll be a good tradable bit in the morning. May give us a little bit of a bump in gold and maybe the dollar. We'll have to see how it goes in the European session. Um, oh, that was weird. My upper screen. I wonder if I have a loose wire. My upper screen just went black for a second, and then came back. Um, I have to watch that one. Um, I put my foot down on one of the wires though, so maybe it's loose. Um, but yeah, I'm looking forward to that one. I think that'll be a quick in and out, be done by 10 o'clock tomorrow, and call it a day, and then go in the next weekend. Um, yeah, so that's it. So let's go over charts. I can close that down. I can pull this back over to here. All right, so let's go over. Yeah, well, down big. So Aussie dollar, not really big mover. We were sitting. Bring this back up to 30 minutes. I was like, wait, that's off. I can tell you right now. We were sitting right here yesterday, about the same time, about 9:30. We had that little bit of a pop and pullback. It looks just like gold did, right? With that little pop and then a retracement. We're in the same spot, and it's kind of, it's we're kind of a sticking point. I mean, we know we had a small level, right, on a 30 minute. We know we had a level sitting right in here. We talked about that yesterday, I believe, and that's what it popped into right at that 9:30, 10 o'clock ish time frame, and it pulled back. I wouldn't say any of this is a major mover. We had an area of interest. We can move it now because it's just chopping so far sideways. Um, I would say it's looking like it wants to be more of a short. And again, when you're looking in this area here, you can see that I would say that this is probably a decent profit target to the downside. It's not huge. I mean, you're talking about 30 pips to the downside. I would say that's probably more the reality. Is there really a great entry? Not really. I mean, there's a small one here. I mean, this one would have been yesterday. Um, you know, with all this other news coming in tomorrow, I don't know if we're going to be able to really get much out of it. And you know, right now, I wouldn't say that there's. I mean, you can see we're kind of in the, you know, kind of like where our tops and bottoms would be. You can see here's some of the lower ones here. We're really kind of leaving that kind of green zone and heading back into the blue, and then it puts us into a blue scenario. But really, I mean, I mean, since 12 o'clock yesterday, there's no movement, no trend, no nothing. Tomorrow's PCE data will move this. The way to play that would be is look at it half hour beforehand and see if we're approaching a level. But I mean, this is what we're dealing with. I mean, even though I try to make it really exciting, all it's doing is chopping back and forth. It's pretty hard even at that level to make it too exciting. So I would say clean levels are 76.31, 74.98. There's a minor level, and when I say minor, it's a very, very minor level. Um, Sitting here at what, 75.98 or 76, right? 76. Um, I don't know. We push up there in the next 30 minutes or whatever. We may have a little, opportunity for a rollover. Um, but again, it's with all this chopping here, I wouldn't say there's a lot of buyers or sellers right now in this area. Um, also, again, same exact thing. I mean, we were sitting here yesterday. We can see top to bottom, right? Top to bottom, 25 pip or 27 pips. Sorry. If I take the two extreme ranges, we're talking about a little bit, just not a much. 84.60, 83.60, I think is basically the two levels. Just no movement. And again, not every day is going to be a day that we can trade. This is just not one of those right now. Right, just not enough movement right now for this one to really be worthwhile. So again, set your alerts, and I don't know, maybe it does flatline for the end of the weekend. Yeah, I just looking at it, it's kind of like eh, is there anything good? And really, and also, yeah, no. Let me see. When is the next time? Um, Man, there's nothing. Hmm. See, let me go lower. Trying to see when's the next day we have some decent. Um, None of these are really gonna move it. Maybe the manufacturing number. Man, this next 7 days is really anemic as far as Aussie news. Boring. I hope that's not. I hope we're not doing this for a week. Man, I'm yawning already. So yeah, so 84.60, 83.60, still holding those two. Not much we can do. So euro pound, you can see a big pop. We're looking for just a little bit of a push higher. There was a small kind of zone sitting right here as well. Could you have traded that one? Sure. It's just a more aggressive entry on that one where you wanted to do it, and it got front run once. So I would expect this one to retrace back down today. If you guys are in this one, nice little grab. Like I said, that would have been the aggressive entry on the larger zone that we've hit a few times, which is absolutely a valid zone. That was a decent candle that it pushed off of there. There's about a 20 pip candle here, and the ATR is 9. So it's double the ATR, so valid zone. And it's starting to push and roll. Again, coming back down would be pound strength again. And I think after this big push up, with that release, it was a 50 pip mover. All right. The daily ATR right now on this pair is 43. So it was over 1 day worth of movement in a 1 30-minute candle. Actually, it was much less than that. But yeah, so I'd look for a retracing back to the downside. Profit targets, make sure you're taking them out. Get yourself out before that level right there. Right there. I'll change this to the dots just to make it easy. All right. That would be down here at 85.50, which is again psychological level. A double 5-0. I think that's a decent run to the downside. So yeah, you can be short this one. And I think actually, let me see. I had that up earlier. Let me shrink this back down. Euro pound, euro pound, forex. I didn't check this one earlier. We were up at what? 85.90. Nope, there wasn't a knockout there. I was wondering. I was like, is this the one that there was a knockout? Um, 80. No, it wasn't there either. There was a setup on this one. I didn't take it, but I was like, yeah, I was like, that's a possible. Was it the weekly? Yeah, there was an 80. It was this one. There was an 85.91. Right. There was an 85.91 ceiling weekly euro pound call spread on this one. And it's like 10 pips into kind of profit right now. But it peaked its head right above the top. So, you know, I think it's decent. If you guys are looking for something, remember for this one, uh, you know, it's got to move right back to the downside, but we'd be looking for really kind of profit pushing us back over in this range. So I think it's there, but again, weekly position on this, short from really from that level, from there down. Like I said, from where the entry was, you're 11 pips in. Okay, almost 12 pips in a profit right now. I knew there was one that matched up on this one, and again, it is a euro pound weekly. Okay, euro yen. This one's pretty boring. We're looking for a break of 32.04. Kind of the same thing. And you can see the pound was moving right, but we were sitting right here yesterday, basically in the same exact spot. We had a little bit of a peak down. We were waiting for some type of stabilization and a break. We didn't get it. It just pulled right back in. I think we're still valid here, 32.04 for a break, going down to 31.37. Hopefully it hits this week. I mean, I hope it really doesn't just flatline for an entire another day, but I still think it is set up in here for a retracement to the downside. There was some comments. Let me switch this back off. None, all, go. Um, there were some comments earlier. Where is it? Basically talking about how. Let's see if I can find it for you guys. China is suing Australia again. Where the heck is it? Basically talking about how the European Union is kind of walking like a they're they're at high risk, I guess is what they basically said, that they're walking a tightrope of recovery or something like that. Something along the lines of like we're recovering, but it's at risk, right? It's at risk, which again would help lead this tumbling back down again. And this is a decent trade setup. I mean, you're if you're able to bank what 66 on this one when it finally breaks. I don't know if it's going to hit today, but it may be an overnight thing. Maybe we can get it to kind of push back down with some yen strength. But keep that on your radar as well as one of those trades. Euro dollar, kind of the same thing, right? We have this level here that's been a level. It was a top, a top, a top, 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 came through. Then it was the bottom, 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 and we're still kind of approaching it. I was looking to sell at 119.92, have not been able to get up to there yet. We got up to 119.69 ish, so we missed it by, you know, about 20 something pips. And is it really moving? Not so much. Right now we are minus 15 in the last 24 hours, right? So it's just not a whole lot of movement. I mean, peak to peak, it wasn't bad, right? If you caught this peak down to the extreme again, it was about 50. But really, are you going off explosive levels? Really not so much. So I think 119.92 and 118.07 are still our best buy and sell areas. There's actually probably another buy down here at 119.90. Something along, probably something somewhere in here. Like I said, I have to see when we hit it. If this was a European session open, which would be right, 1, 2, 3, right there, right? Oops, right there. Let me shrink this a little bit. Oops, shrink that down a little bit. Still on a 3. If we're able to come down and get there at that level, then yeah, I'd be willing to probably buy it for a European session tomorrow morning. But that would require us again. We got to chunk through, push down, grab this level, and then again, it's really kind of you know kind of sniping it, right? It's got to be like dead on, right? But are we really trending in this one right now? Not really. It's more sideways, like everything else, right? Pound yen. All right, so pound yen has just given us that pullback. So kind of the same thing. This one had a pre-news move, about 10, 10 minutes before we started to see this rally and a push back up again. You can see it on the 5 minute pretty easy. We had like a 30-minute level, and again, pretty easy to figure out. And you can see about 625, 630 is where it really started to move up, and then it held itself in that level, right? Gave us the initial pop, drop, and then it kind of came across again. Um, Pretty easy trade setup based off of that news. It didn't matter what it was. Yesterday, we were talking about it coming down and basing and really kind of dealing with this a break of the 154.19. Remember, this was kind of a news punch through that level, so a little bit harder to grab, but it has given us kind of the Harry Potter entry right now, a drop, a base, and a pullback. I think this one's a little bit riskier because it is a parabolic move. It is stabilizing and it is looking like wants to drop in though. And it did go to a 2 to 1 before it ended up reversing back, and it reversed. I mean, in all honesty, it reversed back to exactly where it should have. That should have been your profit target as your first kind of shot. Either way, we were looking for it to push a little bit lower, but the fact that it had to come from all the way high through, it had to be your. I mean that it's the only place you could have put the profit target with like a reliable kind of explanation of why, right? And it did. It went just below it before popping back up again, and now we're seeing some basing. So, if we can, stabilize here for the next hour, maybe we see a little bit more pound weakness in the, in the rest of the U.S. session as kind of the dollar rebounds a bit. But I do think this is more set up for a parabolic retracement at this move. This is the trade that we had on yesterday, and at its peak news part, I was up about 35 pips. All right, so whether you got it, great. You may have just got into the position. I don't think there is 154. Hold on, let me pull this one. I don't think there was anything great in this one. There was a 154.62, which is up here, which wouldn't have made any sense, right? Which wouldn't have existed before the news, and we've never gotten a pullback. That's the closest one for knockout, so there really wasn't anything decent in that one. Call spread wise, let's see. This was down here at 153.84. No. Oh, wait, helps when you're on the right one. No, nothing weekly. Daily, I'd be a little bit concerned about it because we're going to run out of time. So, yeah. Like I said, the pre-news move was the best one on this one. Unfortunately, none of the other retracement vehicles line up for this one. But if you're short, I think you're probably okay for this one as well. Pound dollar, same thing. Literally rallied right up into that area before the news came crashing down, hit the exact level, and then started the reverse as well. This one also kind of had a level that you could use. You could have used this level of stability right here to break through, and it did. It pulled a base, it came back up and hit it again, and now it's making an attempt, but sellers are stepping back in again. Of the two, this one had a couple more areas, and that's the reason we didn't draw it. Obviously, we had an area here. We have an area right below it, and that's been a tested level also. You can see this one is actually a double test. Right? One test there, although it's pushed it to the brink. And then I do like this below that, though. If this one does come low, which again, don't love that idea, but, I think that there is a break right here of 138.58 coming down to 138.02 flat, which is, 55 pip runner would be nice to the downside. But again, this trade is pretty much done. I think we may push down a little bit, but this is going to be a bit hard to get through. There's two small levels in here, followed by a third right below it. That it's got to break through all that. Versus if it starts to stabilize, it can push back up again. So of the two, I actually do like the short on the pound yen. On this one, I don't really like it as much. It is dollar strength coming back in, which I kind of feel like but with PEC with the PCE tomorrow, that could give it to us. But right now, I don't know that we necessarily have it. Speaking of that, I mean, this is what the dollar index is doing. It's literally just kind of chopping back and forth, right? We're a little bit up, a little bit down, a little bit up, a little bit down, but I wouldn't say it's in a necessarily a great area right now. Now, dollar CAD, we are seeing some movement. There's a dollar CAD position we talked about yesterday. And remember, I tried to refine this down and put it lower, and I was like, yeah, it's going to be down here. It's going to be down here. And I was like, we really can't do it. We really need to make sure we leave it at that level because that's where it starts. It did. It went just a little bit into there to grab that level. This is actually the refined area of it a bit, and it's up about what 2 to 1 right now. Probably a little bit more than that. You're up about 50 pips off that same level, that drop. And again, it was just a higher time frame zone, so there's not much we can do about it. At this point, it's already pretty deep in. If you're trailing, obviously bring your stop loss up, lock in at least 1 to 2, so you can't lose any money on it. Excuse me. Oh, allergies are like going crazy. Like it's cool again here. like the temperature's back down in like the mid 60s again, at least in the morning. So we have like all the windows open, but it's great because I don't have to run the AC. But at the same time, like all the pollen comes back in and it just like jacks my sinuses up. Um, ugh, killing me. Like I love sleeping with the windows open. It's awesome, except when there's pollen. So this is where like kind of that third area is atop, to reach that 1 to 3. I think it's going to be if we make one more push higher, I think we'll hit it. But just understand that that's what we're running into. It's why we've had the front run, front run, front run. The only thing I like about it is we've had 3 touches up top, and this fourth one came in again. So any type of conservative, this is where it pulled back. We should be able to get out of it finally, and then be done with dollar cat. And again pushing higher. Um, After that, I kind of want to see what it does at that level if it bases once this trade is done. I do like the break lower, but right now, like I said, this was a decent kind of hiccup across, and it's following through again. So we'll wait for this trade to finish before setting another one in. Dollar Swiss, I wanted this to come down, and all it did was hold and stabilize and came back up. But we're in the same exact area. We never got the basing we typically like for the breakouts. Had you gotten into this one though, let's see. If you got the break in on the news, you were up about 8. The entire zone itself was only 10. So could you maybe have taken a 10 pip stop loss if you got super aggressive on it? Probably. But has anything really changed? I mean, this is where we were sitting yesterday, right here. Actually, I guess at 9:30 we were sitting down here. So a little bit of a bump up, but all it did was really retrace back to where we were pre-news. There was some Swiss data actually. Um, Swiss is close to a breakout supposedly, right? The breakout of the descending channel we had highlighted in the past after the hawkish Fed meeting. It sounds great. And then they throw a whole bunch of other numbers in here. Long-term trend lines and RSI and everything else, and it's not doing anything. It's like, oh, you were saying that it was down. Oh no. I think this is what they were drawing, right? I'm pretty sure that this is what they were drawing as far as kind of like their channel. And did it break it or did it just go sideways, right? It just went sideways and then it pulled right back into the channel because that's how that works. So, yeah, right now dollar Swiss is just back in that holding pattern. I still think we can probably just continue these across and keep these same 3. I think this has the ability to retrace back down again. We just need a little bit of help from the Swiss, or maybe even some dollar weakness tomorrow. If that PC number is horrible tomorrow, that'll be when this one drops. And I would say this is a potential pre-release move tomorrow. We may be able to get something cheap, some cheapy on this one. Pre-news tomorrow. But right now, you can see in 24 hours, it is moved. Look over here on the right hand side. It is moved. You guys can see over here. It is moved point 0, and it keeps fluctuating between 4 and 5%, which is zilch, nada, right? Not a whole lot there. All right. It's funny. Euro yen is moved 0.01. Dollar CAD 0.03, even though we got that nice retracement down and pull back up again. Last but not least, dollar yen. So dollar yen, it wasn't necessarily fair to go higher. It did actually go just a little bit higher than that one. I'm going to keep it marked, but again, this is not a trade entry. I did not take this one. As you guys know, I'm not really the biggest fan of this one right now. It's just not really giving like clean bounces. I mean, this is the best kind of bounce that we had in there, but it did breach through the top. It would not have stopped you out in spot currency. It didn't, it didn't go past the spread, but I just don't really. I mean, we're in the top. I'd be looking in the short, but right now it's so grindy. There's not really been any big like this was the last big pop, and this was an easy retracement back to the downside. I mean, is this a pop? Kind of, but not really, right? It's not anything that I'm like, ooh, I like that one. So again, I'm gonna maintain my same stance that there are better opportunities out there, right? I feel like there are better opportunities out there. It is what it is. I wish I could say, hey, listen, there's a setup here and a setup here and a setup here, but there's just not. You know, and you could say dollar Swiss is up 22 in 24 hours. But again, I think that's I'm sorry, not that one. Dollar yen up 2 pips in 24 hours. Just not enough movement for me. And again, even taking the extremes, right? We take extreme top to bottom, it's 40 pips, but you know, like I said, you had to been in this one at the perfect time and watching it. And then again, even here, this had been like watching paint dry. You spent what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hours doing nothing, one candle down, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 more hours to have it drop another 6 pips. So, like watching paint dry. Let's go across and look at oil. Okay, so oil, let's see, that should come down to here. Let me get my orange square. Actually, let's do this. there. All right. There we are right now. And there is our. And again, we talked about a little big situation yesterday. That was a decent pop up, and then it kind of stabilized for news, and then kind of just dropped back down the downside. That initial first pop was pretty easy to grab. We talked about how it pulled into a level right beforehand and it really stabilized itself. It popped, but it just didn't have enough wheels to go after that. So, it's kind of those ones. In futures, you would have taken that. It popped, you would have taken it off almost immediately. It would have been more of a scalp. For us, unfortunately, the European session kind of rounded up too much and established that trend. I mean, really, from the European session to the news release, this is 9 o'clock right here, right? This is I typically move this at 8:30, right? The 9 o'clock, actually, the 9:30 open candle was the peak for the day. I mean, that's technically, I use typically 8:30 when I do these, right? You'll see that all these are kind of rolling over at 8:30. Sometimes this is a 9, right? Um, that's really when the U.S. oil trader is getting in there between 8:30 and 9 o'clock. So, um, yeah. Now today was a different scenario. It wasn't a little big, and again, little big is the most common scenario we have. This was a pretty big move. I actually would not be surprised if we pull all the way back up to 73.50 today. It's kind of one of these scenarios where you kind of have like one of the bigger days. Where's the matching? Right here. Kind of a day like this. I actually wouldn't be surprised if it pulled back. Now, again, this is a big blue. Okay, this I would say is intermediate, where this is a small. This is a big blue. We're hitting a little basing level right now, but again, after 2 days worth of drop, I feel like this one probably, they want to push this one a little bit higher. Um, they're, I don't know. I just feel like they're going to want to end on the week. I just feel like the oil industry right now has a lot of control, and there's a lot of greed going on there. You may look at it and say, "Hey, listen, we're in a downtrend. We're pulling back. I can see a zone right here, right?" And which is all true, right? I mean, it's 10:30 right now. We have the natural gas numbers coming in. It did pull back to a 30-minute level, so there's a potential short in there. There's some hidden buyers down here that I don't necessarily like. There's nothing over here signifying that they're there. But as far as a short goes, if you were looking to take this short, I would say that you have clear sailing till at least, whoa, trend line till here. There you go. So you have more or less clear sailing to the downside to 71.60, and I would be okay with that. I'm good whenever oil goes down because I don't want the gas prices. Now, speaking of gas prices, you guys, Todd and I were joking earlier today about it a bit. That I guess Tesla, the new Nasdaq went up yesterday because of the Tesla news about um, Star or whatever. I don't know whatever he's calling it. Is going to be made public once they have consistent profit or something like that. And then also the Tesla put in their first solar power station. Maybe one of you guys on the stream can answer this. I do not have a Tesla, nor have I really had any kind of crazy desire to have a Tesla or an electric car. Um, but when you go to those charging stations, correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought that you paid for those. Are charging stations free or do you pay for them? If you guys know the answer, go ahead and write it in chat. I don't because I don't have one. In fact, I've only ever known one person that I feel like I do know another guy that has a Tesla. I've never seen it. I did know one couple that had, I guess they didn't have an electric car. I guess they had that little one that first came out that was like the hybrid. So I guess I truly don't know anybody that actually has a Tesla. Um, they are free there. They're free. Okay, that's what Melissa said. I was like, yeah. I was like, but if I'm like, but the power's got to come somewhere from somewhere, right? I mean, like if you're going to like a charging station at the airport, they're being charged for that power, right? Have a charging station right down the street. Um, they put it for free. I feel like I don't know. I just don't. I feel like that would be more reason to get one, but at the same time, it's kind of like, all right, so you're telling me I can get free power. There's some guy out there that said, "Hey, listen, if I can go to this charge station, I can hold that charge in the car. I can take that at home and download that charge into my Tesla battery at home, and then I can use it at home for free." I feel like that's too easily manipulated. Like maybe it's like air, right? You guys remember when gas stations they used to have air for free at gas stations. So I was like, "Oh, I'll go over there and fill up my tires," right? Now it's like $2.50 for air. It doesn't really pull that much. I'm telling you, I feel like there is a couponer or a somebody working the system that if they can go get free power, they're filling it up and then driving their Tesla home and filling the battery. I feel like there's somebody out there that's doing it. It's like a 4-hour charge too. I don't know. I mean, I am super curious now because there's got to be a way to work that system, right? How big is a Tesla car battery? Now I'm curious, making me do it. 100 kilowatt hours. Oh, that one's been discontinued. Now they're only 75. Oh no, no, they have other ones. Base model, ah, 75 kilowatt hours. I don't know. Like I feel like I don't know. Now I'm curious. Eh, let's see. 12 hours, 75 watts. It's not bad. It's a decent amount. I mean, if you think about it, if it's free, right? So I'm looking at um power supply, like kilowatt per hour. It's like, oh, if you want to figure it out with Texas. It's like, okay. Kilowatt is watts times 1,000. Watts times time by 1,000 LAD. I'm telling you, there, there's somebody out there that's doing it. I'm telling you right now. Different levels and the faster charge time. I'm sure there's a higher rate, at least in Connecticut. Yeah, I'm telling you. I'm sure a part. I mean, I'm sure it partially is right. Um, they increase the tax, but that's the thing. They would have to, right? I mean, they're not just getting power. Now, again, well, when it's a solar power station, I got. It. I'll tell you right now. Like, if the solar technology was there, if I could buy, think about it, how much money you would save, right? If I could spend, I mean, and that's like right now the big thing with solar is that it's not you can buy it for a house, but it takes like 10 to 15 years before you recoup the cost of what it costs for the actual solar panels. And they're saying in time, eventually, when that kind of goes in the other direction, then it makes sense, right? Right. The only one that's not free is the fact. Yeah. Well, of course, everybody wants the fast charge option, right? But that's what I'm saying, right? I'm sure it's not any more difficult, right? If they can put solar power. I mean, like think about it. In like Texas, Arizona. I mean, Texas, I don't know, but like Oklahoma, anywhere where there's plenty, right? Right? You could literally just plug it in, and it's like free. I'm telling you, that's like the next. If they come out with a franchise for solar powered recharging stations, I figure that's the way to do it, right? Your cost is basically just maintenance, right? I mean, I don't think maintenance is that bad. You do a fast charge, you charge $20, $30 for that kind of stuff. I mean, like on days when people can't get stuff, I feel like you'd be golden, right? Like if you could drive your car around for absolutely free, you just leave it at your house in the sun. I feel like that's a deal, right? I feel like that's a deal. Yeah. Not having owned an EV, no experience coming. I know that Subaru is offering a hybrid plug-in. Might go with yeah, I know they're there. Like, yeah, I mean they're there. I don't know. I just can't. The Tesla truck is the ugliest thing ever. Like the designer of that one obviously watched way too much Back to the Future. So I don't know. Maybe I'll eventually get there. I kind of like so. I told you guys before. Like my house, I can't get solar here because they'd have to cut down like half the trees. So we're under trees. But I like it because the temperature of my house is always like 10 degrees cooler because we're always in the shade anyway. So it's kind of like, do I want solar power so I can use more AC, or do I like the trees so I have the natural shade? It's kind of like that catch 22. But I feel like I don't know. Texas sun would melt that solar. I know, right? Didn't it get over 100 the other day for you guys? It's all right. My Vancouver, where my wife is from, they're gonna have it's 97 on Saturday, 98 on Sunday, and she's like, people don't have AC there. I was like, okay, why? Because they live in the Pacific Northwest. I'm like, okay, because there's a heat wave over there. And then meanwhile, you got people in Texas. Like my buddy in Vegas was like, yeah, it was 111 the other day. And I was like, "But it's dry heat." And he just sent me like the finger emoji. He was like, "Yeah, when it's 111 degrees, there's no such thing as dry heat." Um, but yeah, so oil's kind of setting up right now where it looks like it wants to drop down. And again, decent pullback, downtrend setup. I wouldn't be surprised on a 4 hour if it's there. I don't have that up right now, but most likely I can tell you right now it's probably downtrend setup right here. On the 5 minute, it is heading level. So yeah, probably a bit of a short here, but I'm wondering if we stay inside of this smaller range today, if they want to stabilize it or not. But I'd say if you are getting short, 71.60 is where your profit target's going to be. Gold, I wouldn't touch gold with a 10-foot pole right now. See where we're at. If we're at 71.91, before PCE tomorrow, take a short off of this one, 74. I'm sorry, 1764. Right now, it's ugly. There's no bit of movement. There was an easy parabolic retracement yesterday. By what? By 12 o'clock, it was already done. You were up 12. It was $12 pop, $12 right back again in less than 2 hours. Besides that, we got nothing here. And if anything, I think at this point we kind of stabilized down a little bit lower at 74.75. If we can get a bit lower, look to go long. Silver's had a little bit more movement, but again, until we get up to this 26.34, I'm not interested in getting short. There's obviously kind of a small bit of an area right here, but again, is it worth trading for silver? Not really. I think this is our top and bottom right now, and again, this is, you know, let's see. Yesterday's open was here at 9:30. We popped. We're just slightly down from where it was yesterday. So yeah, it's up it's up 90. It's up 0.9% because of this, right? But from where we were yesterday, here's the 10 o'clock candle. We're just slightly down from where we were yesterday, and all I did was pop and come right back to the exact spot. Took over the parabolic retracement, retraced back down, grabbed more orders, and then slowly came right back up. So not really a whole lot of movement there. Um, ES. Okay, so ES is pushing up. They should all go up today. Again, you can see the VIX is down 5.2%. The data, again, it's funny. You see bad data, you're like, why the heck is the market going up on bad data? Well, it means they're not going to raise the interest rates, and we're going to stay in this environment a lot longer, and people make a whole lot more money. So it's one of those kind of funny things. And again, with us coming up and starting to stabilize right here, look for this one to break, right? We're originally calling for a drop, but now it's come up and it's stabilized and it's pulled up and it's stabilizing. I would say at this point, again, we can come up a little bit or, even get a confirmation through. I mean, if we can get this coming through the top, let's turn this. I think it's time to go long, right? Come back down. And again, this turns into a green long. And then we punch this one up higher. Right there. Again, we're stabilizing. Right. Now it is 10. It is a 10:11. So I mean, it is kind of set up for that reversal of the morning. But I wouldn't say that anything where there. I mean, yeah, the data wasn't great, but it also means that again, maybe inflation is not as bad as we thought, which means all the profits we're seeing now that will continue to push higher, which means low interest rate environment. Which I mean, again, all this stuff is technically good. But again, there may be a little profit taking right now in the yes. But I'd be looking for a break. I mean, maybe if you don't want to get short now, set yourself an alert. 42.60. If we get through that 42.60, look for the pullback, new high. Kind of this new high in this current range, and then a pullback and go long. Right. This one really has room to run, particularly if the data starts to look not great. Because I mean, what are we hearing from companies that they're all affirming their earnings? Everything looks good. We can't find employees, but Target has charging stations for $2 an hour. See, there you go, Debbie. Look at that. I knew we're talking about cars, and what happens, guys? Debbie, right? Women are traditionally not known to be big on cars. Debbie knows. Way to go, guys. You should be embarrassed of yourselves. Just kidding. Debbie, it's awesome that you know. But thank you for answering that, Debbie. So $2 per hour. I wonder how, I wonder how long it takes to charge that then. Hmm. I, I, So is it like a pay? Is it like a parking meter? You drop $2 in and it charges. Like I feel like that would be like pretty badass, right? Like think about it. It's like you know, $2 if you could spend. That's New Jersey suspect. Yeah, probably. You're probably right there. But that's not bad though. I mean, think about it. If you charge your car, like if it only, if you could go for, I don't know, even if you could go for $10 a week, right? That's $40 a month in gas. That's less than one tank of gas. I really, really feel like that's probably pretty decent, right? If you can charge it, that's not bad, but I agree with Ernest. Yeah, it probably is. Um, and I'll tell you right now, if it's Jersey, that's definitely nuclear power that they're cooling with the local water source that makes the fish and the crabs twice as big. Just saying. Just saying. I used to live in Jersey, so I know how it works. It's probably putting the squeeze on target. So, but yeah, I look for ES to go higher. NQ is already kind of moving, right? And again, you can see the same type basing. It's a little bit behind. This is one of those ones that let's not try to catch a top on it. Let's look for pullbacks. I think that NQ has the power to go higher as well. Um, we talked about this before. When we look at big kind of psychological targets next, I think a big one is going to have to be up here at 14,500. You know, big psychological target. I think, with lack of any kind of really disheartening news, I think it goes higher. I think tomorrow, if the PCE number is a red miss, which we've kind of talked about, I mean, I don't see what stops this from coming here until tomorrow, right? Until the news comes out, right? There. Right? I just don't really see much that'll slow it down right now. So I mean, if we get decent pullbacks, take it. Again, even on a 15-minute, wasn't really. I mean, what are you going to pull back and take an entry on, right? I just think that this one continues to roll higher, unless we get some like earth-shatteringly bad news. But I mean, Tesla's up 3.9, Apple's up 0.5. So yeah, I think NQ continues to stay long. Like I said, my overall target for this week or next week would be 1450 or 14,500. I'd love it if we hit it today. It needs to move about what 190 points more. But I think with a feel good Friday, I think we could potentially hit it tomorrow, particularly if we have red PCE data. YM as well. You can see YM spiked right up in that level. This was a prior level that we had for selling, and it's chopping back and forth. It's having some problems right now, but I kind of like it that it's kind of somewhat stabilizing. And you may look at this and say, well, NQ kind of moved a little bit, right? ES kind of did its thing, right? It's kind of chopping back and forth before that level. Why is YM spike so much bigger? And the reason why is because of where is it? Because of this. Okay, the orders. Inventories are getting higher and orders are lowering. And again, durable goods orders, straight up manufacturing goes straight into the Dow, right? So that's why this one has had a little bit bigger of a pop going sideways. And again, you would say, well, that's all negative. Yeah, it is negative, but at the same time, it also means that we're going in anti-inflationary factors, which is good, which means the economy will run hotter for longer, which means there's not a threat that they're going to raise it much, much sooner. So it's technically a good thing. Trading this one will be a little bit harder though. And again, there's that 845 pullback, but it's not in a level, and since that time, it really hasn't done much. So uh, some of you may have gotten short there, and you would have calmed down. Actually, we probably got stopped out on the top. So yeah, like I said, I think NQ is the one to watch the top side. I think Dow's been a little bit of a laggard. You can see from yesterday where we were. We did take a bounce. We were waiting to go short from 33,753 and never broke through. It touched right the line and then started to come back up and stabilize. So we never got that entry. We can keep that on there and save it. I would say really, I mean, this is it's kind of a test over there, but kind of watch that level right there. Um, maybe depending if we stabilize high, that could be a launch point for tomorrow. Maybe even European session, if we can hold. Like I'm hoping we hold here. I'd like this to go higher as well. We're above 30. We're just above 34,000 right now, so I think that's good. And you can see there's a big space here before there's any other sell areas. I think this would be great if we could run up to what 34, 34, 200 is here, 300 is right here. Yeah, I mean, I think this is. I think we have the ability to go long on this one. Like I said, I think we should already be long over here, but yeah, I would like if we had a little bit better of a candle to pull back to. Yeah, as long as we push a little bit higher, I think if we break out of the top of this, we can look for 34,100 today, maybe even a bit, maybe up to 34,200. I think this one has some more room to run. Kind of like this one. Where's my outlook? Wait, what? Wait, what? Oh. Similar to parking meter, but I don't have the patience to wait at Target to charge my car. Debbie, the reason they're doing it is because they want you to shop in Target for an hour. They figure they'll charge you $2 for outside, but they're going to make more than $2 off you on the inside of Target. That's what would get my wife. He's getting money laundered by Target. Yeah, yeah. I don't know. I feel like I don't know. Yeah, I'd be curious if that's a fast charge or a slow charge. I feel like if I could get a full tank of gas for $8, I would probably shop at Target for a lot more things. I mean, think about it, right? I mean, like my typical tank of gas costs me like I don't know, average of like $35 to $45, right? If I could get a full tank of gas by hanging out at Target for 4 days and buying the same stuff that I normally do, and it basically gives me a full tank of gas or the quote full tank of gas, and it only cost me $8. I feel like I feel like I could slum it and buy everything at Target, right? I mean, think about it. You can get almost everything at Target, or we have like a super Target, so I don't know. Maybe you guys can't, right? But I feel like I would just get everything at Target. Like, yeah, you know what? I'm getting my $8 fill up of gas. Man, now I like want an electric car. You're making this hard for me, Debbie. But here's the okay, so maybe does anybody know this? So I know like when the EV cars first came out, they would put a charging station at your house and they have to like put a special station in. Does that special station still do you get charged for that? Do you get charged like regular electricity or does that bypass it because you're saving the environment? Right? I feel like to make it I mean, I feel like they're like, "Oh, we're putting it in your house. We're charging you." But I feel like that's like 100 times more expensive than if you drive somewhere else to fill it up. Like I feel like you could like park it somewhere even if it's a slow charge and take an Uber back and it would be cheaper, right? Like if I can get a free tank of gas and it's within a couple miles of my house, you could spend $5 on an Uber with a tip because you're in the car for like, 3 minutes. And I feel like that's still cheaper than having to pay what the power company rates, right? Yeah. See, now I'm all over this like EV thing. I'm going to be investigating this the rest of the day. Thanks, guys. How can I not pay power? Yeah. If I could, if I always said like, if I decide to move, I am definitely going somewhere next year that whether the new house is going to have a Tesla battery. Like these are the things I want. I want one of the geothermal kind of heating and like cooling systems because those are much more efficient, right? I want a house that whether already has solar in there or I want it to be windy enough that I can put a wind generator outside, right? I want solar, I want wind, I want geothermal, and I want zero power bill. And again, the zero power bill is important because I have enough computers in the house running and monitors and stuff like that that I just don't want to pay for that anymore. Like that is like my bucket list. I want the power company to write me a check. That's what I want. I'm telling you guys. So yeah, so YM is doing a little bit of a pullback now. Let's see. NQ is it's pulling back, but it's not as crazy. You can see right here that this one is also having some. ES is also having some issues, but it's literally. I mean, look at this. This is a 15-minute chart, and we keep switching between green and red. So it's again, it's made 3 attempts higher, 3 attempts lower. There, it's back to this again. Um, it's trying its darndest. It wants to go higher, but again, it's that 1030 kind of profit taking that is really starting to kind of get involved here. Let's look at natural gas as well. Natural gas. Let's see if they've held the forecast so far. Yeah, it's still 6. It's still 64. Let's make this easier. U.S. There we go. Perfect. All right, so they're holding at 64. So let's see what we got here. Yeah, so natural gas is let's drop it down to 5 minute. All right. Not ideal, although it is starting to hold right now. Look, you can see these candles are much, much different, right? Um, it did push back up again. I would say, I mean, this is not looking horrible for a short right now. Let me see Nadex wise. What do we got for shorts? Let's see. Natural gas. Where are we at? Indicative value of 134.28. All right, there is no 8 to 230s there that are even close. Um, no call spreads. Call spreads, for lack of a better word, they kind of suck. No knockouts even remotely close. Let's look at binaries. All right, so none of the cheapy cheapies are good. Let me refresh that. Let me see, 10 to 12. Let's see what got? We got a 132. I'm sorry, 332. So it looks like we have a 332 there. Actually, you know what? Let me use a different one. Let's see. What do we got here? Is it the price note, the anchor? I forget which one it is. 132. All right. It's 28. 36. 36 is way up there. Mm, Yeah, I kind of like that one, how it's stabilizing. I wish it was up just a little bit higher in that one. Um, this would be a 10 to 12 right there. I think daily wise. Yeah, I like how it's stabilizing. I'm liking the stabilization. I wish it was just a little bit higher up here. Like I said, they've pushed the value up on this one. Um, Here's a daily for 20 bucks. 28's all the way down there. That's a big move. Let's see here. Go with hourly. It's 1.5. 2, 2. Looks like we're capped between 2 and 1.5 per hour. We got 3 hour or 4 hours. Four. I like the price of that 28, but I don't think we can get that low. That'd be a heck of a drop to the downside. Here's a 230 for about 20 bucks at 30. So there's two potential shorts on this one. Um, I think with the nature of this one with the spike, I mean it's going to happen pretty quick. I think this is probably the better option. I do like it more for a short. I mean, like I said, I could be wrong. I don't trade natural gas as much, but again, it is pushing into a level. I wish it wasn't stabilizing here in the middle. I much rather prefer this one to stabilize up at the top where we have those sellers um, for the push to the downside. So it's all right. Electromagnetic fields can cause cancer. Yes, but Debbie, at the same time, those people that have like vertigo. When I had vertigo a bunch for that one year, I had to wear like they had those like magnetic bracelets, right? They don't say that those cause cancer, but they did. I did feel different on them. Yeah, Debbie. Eventually, cancer is going to be like high blood pressure, right? Everybody's working on it, right? Everybody's trying to fix it. You're going to die of something anyway. Might as well enjoy it. Yes, the dream is all three alternative energy sources. Hmm. Yeah, I could do that, Sean. Yeah, I'd be good with that. Like I said, that, but here's the thing too, Sean. Right? I'm all for like the electric car, especially if it's like I can drive it for free and stuff like that. But at what cost? Like there is an opportunity cost. If I have to drive this little tiny car that I can't transfer the kids around in, I can't drag gear around in, I can't tow anything, is it really worth it? Then the answer is kind of like, like it's pretty bad when having a vehicle so you can like tow a jet ski is a luxury, right? Like I feel like right now you're like, oh, I have a Tesla, it's a luxury. Yeah, like, at what point does it become a luxury to have a car that can do like rugged things, right? You're like, oh, I need a farm truck so I can do something. right? No, Ernest, I'm gonna ban you from the channel. We're not gonna talk about the Cybertruck, the DeLorean with big wheels. No, no, it's the ugliest thing ever. Nobody's gonna buy it. Um, yeah, it needs to come a long way. I don't, and that's the thing. I'm sure eventually it will, but not that small anymore. Yeah, and Neuro, that's the only one that is decent, right? It's the only one. Yeah, the EVs are not going to pop. Yeah, I mean the EVs definitely have a hard time with the cold, right? Cold and crappy weather. No, we're not doing the Cybertruck. Let's stop talking about the Cybertruck. We're not going to give the Cybertruck any more air. So ugly. But yeah, the F-150 is fine. I think the F-150 will do well if they're able to carry the heavier loads. And again, there's a ton of power in those electric engines. As long as they're able to get the range in them, and again, definitely something that could be worthwhile. Um, I wanted the BMW i8. The only catch was the price. Yeah, the price sucks. Like I said, it's a luxury right now. All right, let's see what the oil figures are coming, or the natural gas figures are coming as. 55. It was low. Hmm. Not that many people are using natural gas right now. It's not really like a natural gas kind of season, but that's an interesting number. It's not it's a decent miss. I wouldn't say that it's like a huge miss. It is painted though, and again, they've been you can see right, like you can see how big some of these numbers are. 64.55 is kind of a small one, so yeah, we'll see. It's got a little bit of movement. It's probably going to stabilize and probably drop down into here to look for orders. This would be a quick in and out one if you can grab it. We'll see how it rolls. All right, so that's it for the day. Like I said, that's not really a super impressive number. Maybe Bostic will, or Williams will say something today. What is he doing? Due to speaker or webinar hosted by the College of Staten Island. There will be some questions, but I don't think it's going to be anything too crazy. I don't think we're going to get anything out of that. And the stress test results end of day. I think we're probably going to pass okay. All right, so let's go ahead and do the drawing for today. Now, Debbie won. Debbie, you won yesterday, right? I'm almost positive Debbie won yesterday. So Debbie will. Everybody else will be going for 25. Debbie will be going for 100 today. Um, inside of the drawing. Oh, now natural gas is popping on the Nix platform. Wow, it jumped all the way to 39. It did give us the 3 cents. That's kind of surprising. I'm kind of shocked that it went that high on that one, which is kind of funny. That natural gas. So, oh, it's delayed. That's why. I forgot that natural gas. Oil does not have it. Oil is not delayed. Natural gas does have the delay. So yeah, so it spiked to 39. So that's good to know. So it did go 3 cents. We can get a 3 cent move on a number that's not amazing. Hmm. Yeah, I keep finding these moves, and I keep looking back, and I'm like, I think I may actually try to trade natural gas more often. Yeah, I wish it was up here. There's the one thing I didn't like that it was sitting over in this level. It's already down to 38 and a half. It's already starting to pull back a bit, but it's nice to know that we got the 3 cents. I like that. I'll have to keep track of that one. Ugh. All right, so let's go ahead and do the drawing for the day. Winner of today's drawing is Debbie's in with two, Nerve's in with two. Ernest only did one. I'm shocked. Maybe Ernest is trying to steal the strategy of the women here. All right, today's winner of the drawing is wow. Somebody type rigged, quick. Somebody type rigged. Look at that. I talk about him and he wins. Can you believe that? Man. No, I'm just kidding. Ernest wins pretty often. Although today he didn't buy it. He didn't buy it today. So, Ernest gets his 25. It makes up for his overspending earlier in the week, right? A little bit of overspending. Never hurt anybody. Call the cops. Time for the lawsuit. I know. Ernest is. Look at this. You know what Ernest did? He figured out what the winners were doing, and he did the same thing. I was the other night. I got down to 30. Yeah. Yep, Sean. It's crazy. That's what he did. Ernest figured out what the winners were doing, and he did what the winners were doing. Yep. That's it. Uncle Paulie wanted his comment. Exactly right. Yeah. Yeah, it is what it is. All right, guys. So tomorrow, again, remember we will be on tomorrow. Hopefully, we got some more movement. Like I said, the only thing really is the pound, and the cat a bit. I mean, it looks like we finally got some movement in the euro dollar. Just some more dollar strength coming back in again, but I wouldn't say it's like astronomical, like crazy. But again, U.S. trader comes in, dollar strength comes in the market. That's something that we've been, I got Rudy for Paulie. Nice. I think I would take Rudy. I think he's got some people. He's got some people's, right? So, all right. With that said, I'm out of here. I'm gonna go see what the girl's doing. I will catch you guys later. Yeah. See you guys in the morning. You guys take care. If you need me, shoot me a message on Discord. Take care.